Star Wars Episode 9 is often described as a film full of action sequences and chaos by writer and director J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are really looking forward to seeing in this movie is, of course, not just the lightsaber duels and the different adventures for our characters in this movie, but it also has all to do with all of the different action sequences as well as the space battle sequences in this film. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this movie when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with one of the major action sequences in Episode 9. Specifically, a description of Rey inside of a new ship design with R2-D2 docked on top. It said that Rey is leading a series of A-wings toward two large First Order Star Destroyers that appear larger than Snoke's supremacy. The destroyer designs are described that they resemble an enlarged version of the Secutor-class destroyer, however with wings on each side. It's described that one of Rey's missions in the space battle is to take down these two destroyers through teamwork. It's said that the space battle in particular is on the level of action in the very beginning of Revenge of the Sith, however a bit more lengthy. The next goes over Rey taking out one of the bridges to the destroyer, with the bridge collapsing on the top of the ship, leaving an open shot. The next goes over Rey taking TIE fighters out, eventually firing missiles onto one of the large openings to the destroyer. The special missiles are actually said to create an implosion. The last goes over a group of Y-Wings attempting to make a bombing run, only to all be shown by Kylo Ren and shot down by Kylo Ren in his new starfighter design. So I really want to go over a couple of parts about this that are really getting me pumped up for the space battle sequences in Episode 9, something that I feel definitely needs to be worked on in the sequel trilogy, right? If you look at The Force Awakens, we didn't get a proper space battle, and the same exact thing goes for The Last Jedi. That's just my opinion, by the way. Now, in The Last Jedi, it was very slow-paced. In Episode 9, we're going to get very fast-paced space battle sequences, kind of like what we saw in the prequel trilogy, and even in the original trilogy, which is something that I really love about this franchise that, ironically, is just kind of like excluded from the Star Wars sequel trilogy, right? I mean, if you look at the title, Star Wars, you would expect to have proper space battles in these movies. So with that being said, the first thing that I do want to go over that I find very intriguing is this new starfighter design that Rey is actually using in the film, and is actually going to go up against two massive Star Destroyers, where she is being backed up by a group of A-Wings. Now, this is where things get intense, because we do know that these two ship designs are going to be larger than Snoke's supremacy ship in, of course, The Last Jedi. Now, of course, we do know that J.J. Abrams loves to make things a whole lot larger, right? You can see the great example in, of course, Episode 7, with Starkiller Base basically being a new Death Star. Now it seems as though that J.J. Abrams wants to create two new versions of the Supremacy, except a whole lot larger. Now, these are probably the actual Star Destroyers that we heard about a couple of weeks ago, about how Emperor Palpatine has a lot of these pretty much backup plans of the Empire that Kylo Ren discovers in the film, and that's exactly how he rebuilds his new order into something very powerful. So, with Rey actually having the advantage to go up against these Star Destroyers, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this, of her being backed up by a couple of A-Wings being able to take on such a threat. So I'm sure that a lot of people may have a problem with that, with Rey actually taking out too many things in the actual space battle sequences. So the next thing that I do want to go over is how a group of Y-Wings are all prepped to make a bombing run on one of these Star Destroyers, that Kylo Ren eventually destroys each and every one of them in his new starfighter design. Now, you guys may or may not have heard about this, but Kylo has a new ship in this film as well as a speeder. So Kylo's new ship is actually described to be a mixture between the actual TIE silencer and, of course, his shuttle, both of which you do see in The Last Jedi. So it's going to be a combination of those two things, and it's going to be quite a large ship. Now, that being said, we do know that J.J. Abrams wants to make Kylo Ren a relentless character when it comes to exactly what he wants to do with his new order and what he will do to protect it. So he's going to be taking out multiple ships in this movie. He's going to be pretty much killing everybody in his path, showing us exactly how much of a villain he's really going to be in this movie that could or could not actually have a redemption arc in this film. We'll have to wait and see. Now, as far as everything else goes, I can only imagine the special effects that are going to go into this thing. It's actually said to be on the scale of what we saw in Revenge of the Sith in the very beginning of the movie. One of my favorite sequences in that film is, of course, the space battle in the very beginning. It opens right up to chaos, right over Coruscant. It's an amazing sequence that I think a lot of fans just adore, and it's something that a lot of fans want to see in Episode 9. And that's exactly what J.J. Abrams will be delivering in this movie. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night